What's happening, folks? Welcome back to Celtic Fans TV and welcome to the first ever live starting 11 prediction. We're here to look ahead to tomorrow's game against Kilmarnock at Celtic Park. We obviously come into it off the back of that 3-3 draw against Dundee on Tuesday, where obviously we're all disappointed with the outcome, the way we performed second half. Interesting to hear Brendan Rodgers' thoughts on the game today. And he talked about the 7 games in 10 days and maybe the team just hitting a bit of a wall. And I don't think you can really disagree with that, having watched how the second half played out in terms of the lack of intensity, how we struggled to deal with Dundee's intensity at times, the way they pressed us, they were aggressive, and we did look rattled for spells in that game. So let's hope tomorrow, having that extra day's rest, because we did have a few games there where it was back to back, less than 3 days between each one. So let's hope that tomorrow that extra day's helped the team and we can put in a much better performance than we did on Tuesday. Now, a bit about this live format. As you can see, it's a different setup to usual. I'm inside this grid and there's a live subscriber count on the bottom right hand side of your screen down here. That is the progress bar towards 50,000 subscribers. And that will update interactively as these videos are going on. So if someone subscribes, that will tick one subscriber closer to 50,000, and then whoever it is that subscribes will come up on the left hand side of the screen. So that's all well and good, but the main thing about this format is it's interactive. You guys can ask questions during the starting 11 predictions for the first time in the channel's history. 6 years we've been doing this, and this is the first live starting 11. So get your questions in, and as we go through things tonight, I'll try and pick out any good ones, and I'll leave some time at the end for some questions as well. One of the good things about this is that I don't need to edit it, it's live. So usually when I'm doing these pre-recorded, I need to go back inside and spend half an hour, 40 minutes editing. So a knock-on effect is hopefully that the videos can be a wee bit longer. And I'll get to some of your questions as we go through as well. Now, Kilmarnock haven't had a great season so far. They've had 2 wins in their last 5. They have had 10 days rest coming into this game, though. Their last game was a 0-0 draw against Motherwell at Rugby Park on the 8th of January. So they have had considerably more rest than us recently. But again, it's all about us tomorrow. We've got a big game on the horizon on Wednesday in the Champions League, but the focus first of all will be on this game tomorrow, and the manager has been rotating quite a lot as we've gone through the season. You'd expect another couple of changes tomorrow, but I think he's got to be thinking about what the starting 11 is going to be on Wednesday, because I don't think he wants 3 or 4 changes necessarily getting into that game. It might be nice to have at least 9 or 10 of the 11 that will start against young boys playing tomorrow, so they can get up to speed. I know we've got 1 or 2 guys coming back from injury, key players, the likes of Kuhn and Maeda as well, who's fit and available. So it's big for those guys to get some minutes, to get up to speed, so that they're in a bit of a rhythm coming into that big game on Wednesday night. So let's get into it then. We'll start in goals, as we always do, with Kasper Schmeichel, who did the pre-match press today. He'll obviously be disappointed losing 3 goals the other night. That's happened a couple of times recently. I just think the defence in front of him and the midfield in the second half, as we've touched on and talked about at length both after the game and already tonight, we were rattled, and Dundee had lots of chances. They had lots of shots at goal just after their equaliser at 2-2. They had a free kick that just went wide. They had a couple of other shooting opportunities. So Kasper Schmeichel didn't have the usual protection that he's had in domestic games. So he'll be hoping for an easier outing tomorrow back at Celtic Park, that is for sure. In terms of the back 4, I'm going Johnston, Carter Vickers, and Summit today has obviously just commented their Scales got to start. I'm going to put him in to start, and I'm going to say Taylor at left back. So Scales first of all, I'm really not sure how much rotation is necessary at centre half. Trusty was obviously terrible the other night, absolutely terrible, and he might come out on the basis of that. That's probably formed most of my decision to take him out and put Scales in. So it'll be interesting to see what the manager does. I don't think it's the best position in the pitch to constantly chop and change, but as a cup game tomorrow, I think the manager rightly wants to keep Scales engaged. We obviously seen the spell of games after the cup final that Scales had, and then he had the poor performance at Ibrox. Trusty's come back in, and Trusty put up a similar performance, you would have to say, against Dundee as Scales did at Ibrox the other night. Out-muscled, really poor on the second goal in terms of Murray just shouldering them out of the way at the touchline, which you don't expect given the size of the two players, and then he's got to be stronger at the set piece as well. So it was a really poor out and poor on the ball as well. Really no dressing up for Austin Trusty the other night. So I'm going Scales. Left back, Taylor. Obviously a lot of talk this week about Alex Valle and his future. Obviously the deal for Kieran Tierney, if it is to become a loan move this month and Kieran Tierney does come back to the club, it looks like Alex Valle's loan, we have the option to terminate it, and then he'll go back to Barcelona and we would have Tierney and Taylor to see out the season. We'll see how that one develops. Brendan Rodgers was asked about it today, but as you'd expect, he didn't really give anything away. It looks like the Tierney deal is contingent on Valle's loan, and we'll see what happens. I just expect Taylor to get the nod tomorrow. Before we move on to midfield, I just want to pull up some comments here. A lot of you saying rest McGregor for Wednesday. I don't think Callum had his best game the other night. I think when Dundee have their spell in the second half, you're looking for us to take control of it again, calm things down and really go back to dictating the play, but we just couldn't do that. We just couldn't find a way to regain control of the game at any point at Dens the other night. So I think the midfield were culpable in that. McGregor for me has been one of the biggest underperformers in recent weeks. Comment for Reese there. So I think a lot of you, John Watt as well, Evening Paul, do you think that Calmac should be rested ahead of the Champions League game? Maybe there is an element of that. Maybe there is a case for Callum McGregor to be rested so that he's fresh, because he has played a lot of games throughout this period. In the last, obviously, 20 days, 7 games. He'll have played most, if not all of them. I have put him in for tomorrow, though. Again, maybe it's just because I'm thinking about trying to get that rhythm and that familiarity in most of the team looking ahead to Wednesday. Again, I think the midfield, all of them individually and collectively, could have performed better the other night, but I've just gone McGregor. In front of him, I've put Engels and Rio Hatate. Again, that's probably more thinking about during the week. You can let me know if you think that's a good 3 for tomorrow, and is it a good 3 for Wednesday, because the midfield situation just now is obviously one of huge debate, given that we've got a lot of players there, but it's not really clear who's the first choice, who's the best combination. McCowan obviously scored a brilliant goal the other night. I thought he was, in the first half, obviously, when most of the team were decent and we were in cruise control, I thought he played well, Luke McCowan, but I don't know if he'll get a start tomorrow, and I don't see him starting the game on Wednesday, which is maybe why I went with McGregor, Engels and Hatate. Eddie has asked, would like to know your thoughts on the midfield situation. Would you like someone in this window, and what type of player? I don't think we're going to get a midfielder this month. I don't think it's even on the cards that we're going to sign a midfield player. We've just talked about the competition in that area of the pitch with McGregor, Engels, Hatate, McCowan, Bernardo. So that's lots of players. Kaiser's shouting for Bernardo and Engels deep, with Hatate advanced. There's lots of players in there, lots of competition. I don't see us getting anybody added to that area of the team during this month. So I think that's the players that are there who we're going to go with. I think the big conundrum is, what's the best combination? I know there's been a lot of rotation and the manager has changed things a lot this season, but that's maybe caused to the symptom of not knowing what the best combination is, and not really having a long run where it's the same 3 all the time. And that's right, because obviously likes of McCowan and Bernardo will feel that they've deserved starts, and they have done. So number of games and lots of good players competing for places. That's just the way of it in midfield just now. Front 3, I'm going what I would call full strength. Kuhn on the right hand side, back after his injury. I thought he was good the other night, to be fair to him, coming back after a couple of games out. gets the penalty with cutting inside and getting the shot away. But I think the best thing about Kuhn is that dribbling ability. His close control is excellent, and I thought he changed the game for us. He was the closest sub to really changing the game for us on Tuesday night. A couple of you talking about the sound. We will look at it. It might take a few of these to get us up to speed and get things running smoothly. But as long as you can hear me, we'll take that for now, right? If you can hear me, we'll take it, and we'll try and improve it moving forward. Dyson Maeda back on the left hand side. I think there's no two ways about it that Dyson Maeda has to come back in. I think he has to get 50-60 minutes in this game just to try and get back up to speed. I know he's only missed a game or two there, but he's going to be key on Wednesday night. He's a massive player for us, particularly in Europe, in terms of the work that he puts in, and I think the drop off to Yang is obviously huge. Could there be a case for Palma coming in? I don't know. I think Palma is maybe one of those players who could be on the way out this month. We've talked about that a lot this week. I'm not sure if he's going to be in contention for a start tomorrow or not. I think it makes sense to give Dyson Maeda 60 minutes, and from there look to get him up maybe a full 90 on Wednesday. So last one tonight, Kyogo through the middle. A lot of comments in the full-time reaction the other night, a lot of criticism for Adamida. So 12 games without a goal. Again, there's no dressing that up. It is a poor return. He hasn't performed anywhere near the levels that we would expect of him. And that's nothing to do with the price tag. For me, it's even looking at the player that we got last season on loan. He was brilliant. He changed the season for us. He scored a lot of big goals. He's obviously low in confidence right now. I think that's symptomatic of not scoring goals when you're a striker. But I think there's definitely a case for Kyogo to start this game. And I think, again, when you're looking to Wednesday, you've got to think Kyogo will be the striker that gets the nod. So that's 11 I think the manager's going to go with tomorrow. I'll try and get to some questions now. I see the comments about the audio. We'll get it fixed. That's probably just one of these settings that I've missed. A lot of you saying it's coming out mono instead of stereo. We'll get that looked at and we'll fix it for Tuesday's starting 11. Let's get to some questions. LR's saying McCowan starts before Hatate. For me, there's a lot of you saying that. And it's difficult to argue with that because I think McCowan's played better than Hatate for maybe 4 or 5 weeks now whenever he's had a chance. Obviously, there was a lot of noise around Hatate after the derby. His performance was so poor. I just think, again, looking at Wednesday, is McCowan going to get the nod in midfield, rightly or wrongly? I don't think he will. So I think that's just why I've went with Hatate. Could you make a case for Bernardo? I think Bernardo's hard done to a lot of the time and not getting starts, but he was poor on Tuesday. I think he picked up a booking. I actually thought he was going to come off before Luke McCowan. Surprised to see him stay on, particularly after picking up the yellow card. But we'll see what happens in midfield. I understand the shouts for McCowan to start over Hatate. Aidan G, should Brendan Rodgers not know by now his best midfield for every occasion? I think he should. I think he might do. I think he probably does in his mind. But again, it's not really clear in terms of their form, in terms of how they've been performing. And again, the thing that really hampers getting a consistent team is the number of games. It is the level of rotation that the manager has had to do this season, and has, to his own merit, he's done well with it, and we've navigated most of the games well. I know there has been a dip in recent months. I think the away form is maybe a wee bit of a concern if you look at the last 3 or 4 away matches in the league, but there's had to be a lot of rotation, and I think you can understand that given the number of games. So that's about it for tonight. I hope you've enjoyed this format. Again, give us any feedback. I take your point on the audio. We'll get it sorted in time for Tuesday, and hopefully that will be in a better nick for you in the build-up to the Young Boys game. I hope you've enjoyed this format. Please give us your thoughts below on how you feel it's gone, and I'll be back with you tomorrow after the game with the full-time reaction outside the stadium with the boys, wherever you're watching the game tomorrow. Enjoy it, and we'll see you afterwards with the full-time reaction. Cheers.